Hi, I'm Glenn.
I'm Cheryl.
And this is Couple vs. Cardboard's first look at the brand new adventure pack for the Lord of the Rings LCG.
The Dunland Trap.
Which is the first pack in the brand new Ringmaker cycle.
Absolutely.
Which is so exciting.
Yep.
Terrifying that Saruman is creating a ring.
I mean, it's
Maybe.
really rough.
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing?
Yeah, he's making a ring of power.
Is he good or bad?
I mean, we don't really know.
It's hard to say.
Or do we? So, before we get into the actual thing, I wanted to point out something cool that is brand new on the Dunland Trap packaging. And specifically, it is the brand new little QR code that comes included on the back of the packaging now. So if you pick this up at your friendly local game store, they will have this QR code on the back of the Dunland Trap. And if you scan it with your mobile device, it will take you to a website which will take you to a page of just every card that is inside of the pack. Which I thought was super cool.
So cool.
I actually am not like a big fan of QR codes. I think they're really kind of goofy most of the time.
It's true.
But this is super cool because obviously if for someone who's playing casually, if they want to just kind of check out some of the cards that are included, I think that's really cool.
Or if you're like a super nerd and you like can't buy the pack right away, but you want to know what's in the pack, you could check it out and occupy it.
Absolutely. Or I was also thinking about people who also play super casually may just want to know kind of what the heroes were or what some of the cards were. So I think that's really cool. So good one on Fantasy Flight.
Speaking of what's inside the pack.
Yeah, speaking of what's inside the pack.
What's inside the pack?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about some of these cards. Would you like to, we'll go ahead and do Hero last, as always.
Of course.
Or would you like to start us out?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Alright, so first we have a leadership ally. Cost is 2. This is the Nathe guide. Nathe guide is Sylvan and Scout traded. Like I said, cost of 2, 1 willpower, 1 attack, 0 defense, and 1 hit point. Response. After Nathe guide enters play, choose a hero. That hero does not exhaust to quest this round.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So cool. I mean, obviously, a 2-cost thing that doesn't require a hero to move or to exhaust this round is really cool. Getting an ally out of it is also cool. I think overall, I think you have a net of it being a positive thing. So I think this is a really, really, really cool card. She has 1 hit point and no defense, so obviously she's going to be quite the chump blocker.
Yeah.
Inevitably.
But she'll have already done her job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's some other stuff that we're going to talk about with Sylvan in this pack as well, so we'll come back to that. But
plus, look at how cool she looks.
Yeah, she is very cool. It is, of course, Magali. I can never figure out how to pronounce her name, but who's probably my favorite artist, one of my favorite board game artists generally, but does some amazing stuff for
so good.
Lord of the Rings LCG. Okay. Swift and Silent, 1-cost leadership event. Action. Ready a hero you control, then if your threat is 20 or less, and this is the first time you've played a copy of Swift and Silent this round, return this card to your hand instead of discarding it. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah, I think it's way cool.
I think it's super, super useful. And, I mean, who doesn't want to ready a hero? Like, always.
Absolutely.
As much as possible, I do.
Sure. I think so the first thing I would say is I think it's great because it's a 1-cost way to ready a hero,
right.
Which obviously is a very leadership thing to do. But in addition to that, I also think it's cool because even if you're over 20, let's say that you were running this in a secrecy deck, for example, and you're over 20, because that happens periodically in a secrecy deck, it still has use at that point. Whereas I find a lot of secrecy cards, because of their high cost, apart from secrecy, tend to be much more expensive. So I like that it continues to have a value, even though it's
absolutely,
even when it doesn't have even when you don't have secrecy. Yeah. Yeah. So,
it's great.
Yeah, really great. The only thing that is also, apart from that's worth pointing out is leadership doesn't really have a lot of secrecy. Right. So that is worth kind of noting. I think there's only 1 secrecy card actually in leadership. So that's a thing.
It's a thing.
All right.
Next, we have our dear old friend,
Aww.
Firefoot.
Hi, Firefoot.
It is a mount trait.
Yep.
Cost of 2, attached to a tactics or Rohan hero. It's restricted. Attached hero gets +1 attack, +2 attack instead if it is Éomer. Response after attached hero attacks alone, exhaust Firefoot to choose a non-unique enemy engaged with you. Excess damage dealt by this attack is assigned to the chosen enemy.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this card.
Yes.
We got to spoil it a little bit ago. We loved it then. I still like it a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have different opinions now?
No, I think the only thing, when you start talking about these things, like we got it and we were so excited that probably got a little tongue-tied. But I think, obviously, it works great with Éomer. I also think it works really well with using things like a Dagger of Westerness. We're just adding things on top of it as well. I mentioned also, what's his name? Gimli. I think it works really well with Gimli.
Yeah.
But I think also anybody who has a high attack or can kind of muster a high attack is going to be really powerful with this card. So I think that's really great. The other thing is also you could probably end up using it on someone like Éomer with Rohan Warhorse, because there's nothing against using multiple mounts, and you could kind of use him to be able to attack a second. You can't use this twice, because this exhausts, but apart from that, it is possible to kind of use it, so.
Yeah.
Love it.
Also, I just love the mounts thematically.
Yeah.
I think it's really smart.
And I keep hoping that they're going to do things with mounts like they do with like they are with some other traits. I just think that would be really fun too.
It seems like it could potentially go that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun.
Yeah, fun. Cool.
What do we got next?
Next is Close Call. Close Call.
Whew, that was a close call.
Is a tactics event. It is a 0 cost, doomed X. Cancel X damage just dealt to a hero. The response. What do you think?
I think it could be totally functional.
Yes.
I think there are times when you're right there on the edge and a hero is 1 damage away from dying. You get that damage done to a close call, wipe it clean, you still have that hero again.
Yeah.
So I could totally see it being used like that. It still is doomed, which makes it tricky, because that's going to impact all the other players.
Yeah.
So there is obviously a cost to getting rid of that damage.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Plus, it's hard in tactics just generally because there's basically nothing for tactics in terms of threat reduction. So I think that's also hard. I will say that because of the Doomed X, I agree with you. I think it's obviously easier for things like minor cuts and scrapes. Like, okay, so 1 point of damage would have killed your hero. 2 points of damage would have killed your hero. Let's cancel that.
Yeah.
But I also think, especially the more people you have, the more difficult it's going to become. And I think we saw that with a lot of the Doomed cards. So I will say that I'm probably reluctant to actually run this in a tactics deck.
Fair.
But someone tell me why I'm wrong in the comments.
Tell me who's wrong.
Yeah, it'd be fine. Okay? So, next up?
So next up we have a spirit ally, the Blue Mountain Trader, dwarf traded, cost of 2, 1 will, 1 willpower.
Yeah.
That's what that is. 0 attack, 1 defense, and 2 hit points. So action, choose another player. That player gains control of Blue Mountain Trader. Then that player moves 1 resource from the resource pool of a hero he controls to the resource pool of a hero you control. Or Blue Mountain Trader is discarded. So basically you're giving this guy to someone else and getting a resource for it.
Right. Or if that doesn't happen in the exchange, then you discard the hero. Or this guy.
Right.
Right.
So then he becomes really... I mean, if you're not going to be able to do it, you shouldn't play the card, really.
That is the key.
Just losing 2 resources.
That's the key to this hero, or this ally right here.
So, what do you think?
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is I like it because I think that generally, I think it's good that there I think it's good that there's a card that gives some interaction between players.
Yeah.
So I think that can be good if, say, for example, you need to give a chump blocker to another person. So you can kind of, in a sense, pay them for a chump blocker. Same is also true, of course, of money. Like, it just lets you have one resource and trade one resource. So I think both of those reasons are good. I mean, obviously, I think this would go in a multiplayer deck. And so,
Right.
I mean, obviously, you wouldn't be giving it to somebody else. And so I think that's good, because I think it's good that there are kind of more cards that will be suited for multiplayer. But apart from that, I'm a little hard-pressed to find why that ability is going to be great.
Well, I think it would work well if you were working with someone with a dwarf synergy deck.
Okay.
So you're
okay.
basically can add another dwarf to their
Sure.
set, and you get a resource for it. So maybe
Sure.
you're trying to get, like you're playing spirit lore, and you're trying to get another lore resource, but you have plenty of spirit resources. You could do a little tradey trade.
Okay.
Give an ally for a resource.
Yeah, I guess so. I just also, yeah.
So I don't know. I think you can use it.
Yes.
I think it's really interesting, as far as what it adds to the game. Like, it's an interesting idea.
Like the idea of the interaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like it.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm going to use it, but
Right.
or if I'm going to use it.
Yeah, and you tend to run spirit, so it would probably make more sense
Yeah.
for you as far as that goes. Okay. The next is The Fall of Gilgalad, which is so cool. Okay, so The Fall of Gilgalad is one cost spirit attachment. It is limit, so it's limit one per deck. You attach to hero response. When attached hero is destroyed, add the Fall of Gilgalad to the victory display to reduce your threat by X, where X is equal to the attached hero's threat cost. And then obviously it has a 1 victory point thing.
Right.
What do you think?
So I mean, it's only 1 per deck,
Yes.
so to me it's worth it to have it in there.
Okay.
Because then if you lose a hero, right, you're getting something for that if you're able to get it on the right guy.
Yes.
It's a little tricky.
So it sounds like you're also saying, in what you're not saying, it sounds like you're saying that it's harder to combo with.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tricky because you got to attach it to the hero that's going to, right? You have to attach it to the hero that you think is going to die later on in the game.
Yeah, or at some point. I mean, obviously, if you've got a hero that has like 1,000,000 points of damage on them,
right?
You're at that point you have a sense of you have a sense of where you're going.
So I mean, I think it's a little trickier to play, but also I think it's nice to have a couple. I mean, in this pack, you've had a couple of cards that can help you when your hero either is destroyed or close to being destroyed. With this card and the cost of
and with close call, sure.
Close call, yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Yeah, I would say I think it's tough. Like, so my first reaction to it was because it's 1 per deck, it makes it a lot more difficult. But then I thought, well, because it's only 1 per deck, maybe it would be worth just throwing into almost any deck that you can squeeze 1 more card into. Like, because it's one of those where you could throw it on another person's hero, so that, for example, that tactics hero or that tactics player who's close to threading out anyways, you can throw it on his guys, and so then at least he's back to normal. You could throw it onto a secrecy player's stuff, and then they go back to kind of their original state. It's almost like lore Aragorn in that sense. I mean, I think there's stuff here. I think there's a lore hero that lets you search your deck for songs. So I think that's potentially really interesting. I mean, in the sense that you could then get it to work. It's just it's tougher with the guys who can with the heroes who can ditch themselves. Like, for example, her name starts with a C and I can't remember what it is. I can't remember her name. She's the Gondor hero that came in the last cycle, like the 3rd or 4th pack in the cycle. And then also Boromir. Both of them can discard themselves. Both of them can discard themselves, but as far as this card is concerned, you can't use it. They have to be destroyed.
Right.
So I would say that I like it. but also it's very niche.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think in general, the song trait is just really smart.
Just cool to me.
It's just cool because thematically, you know, Tolkien used a lot of song in his story.
Yeah.
It's all of his stories, and that's a huge part of Middle Earth. So I think it's cool to have that stuff in there.
Yeah, and a reference to Gilgalad.
Yeah.
I think is really cool.
So good.
I know, it's all nerdy, fun, cool stuff. Okay.
So next.
Yeah.
Next up we have Lore Ally, the Athelian Lookout. Cost of 3, 1 willpower, 2 attack, 0 defense, 2 hit points. Traded as Gondor and Ranger. Secrecy 2. Response after Athelian Lookout enters play, look at the top card of the encounter deck. If it is an enemy, you may discard it. So, what do you think?
I think I really like it, but I know I at least like it.
Yeah.
Like, I have to look again at some of the Ranger stuff, just because it's been a little while since I've actually looked at it. I seem to remember thinking that there was a universe in which it might make sense to do Rangers and Secrecy, so I love that idea. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it was there, but I think I remember thinking it could be there. I don't know. Anyways, but I really, really like the scry to potential, like, either to see what's coming or to ditch a character off the top, an enemy off the top.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge, and I think it's really cool. I really like it, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think even 3 cost, right? That's kind of a moderate cost.
Yes.
And so even without Secrecy, it's reasonable that you could get this guy into play.
Yes.
And even to be able to look at the top card of the encounter deck is probably worth 3 cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
And so that's really helpful, because Secrecy, if you get out of Secrecy, then all your Secrecy cards, like you said, tend to be really expensive and difficult to get into play. And
that's, of course, on top of the fact that you're using him potentially with other Ranger stuff, too.
For sure.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay. So next is the Tree People. So the Tree People is a 0-cost lore event. Return any Sylvan ally to your hand to search the top 5 cards of your deck for a Sylvan ally. Put that ally into play and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. You can only play 1 copy of the Tree People each phase.
Yeah, I love it. Well, first of all, like, I love the artwork on this card. Like, it stands out as one of my favorites in this pack.
Okay.
I love it. Also, I like things that have to do with elves. And so even that it kind of is, I mean, it's working with Sylvan allies.
Yes.
So I think it's likely that more Sylvan's traded stuff is coming out.
Yes.
So that makes me happy too.
And I think they've alluded to that as well.
Yeah.
Or if not spoiled it outright.
Plus, that's just super useful.
Yeah.
So, the idea of things coming in and out of play and being able to search your deck for something that you need at the time, great.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that in a second. So a lot of the different Sylvan allies are spread across several different spheres. Obviously, we just saw one from Leadership. There's the Sylvan Refugee, which is Spirit. There's also, I believe, there's another Leadership Sylvan, like the Sylvan Archer, as well as there are 2 or 3 in lore. There's definitely the Mirkwood Runner, and there's definitely the Sylvan Tracker, Sylvan Healer, Sylvan something, maybe Tracker. And then I think there's one more. So I think the other thing too. Yeah, the Sylvan Guide. Okay.
Maybe.
And I think she's Spirit. So the thing about this card is you could potentially also swap somebody out who's less expensive for someone who's the other way around, more expensive for less expensive. So put the Nathe Guide in, and then swap the guide out to put something like the Mirkwood Runner in. That also could theoretically, I think, maybe someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, But I believe also you could then grab people who are off sphere and use this as something to, kind of off sphere to do that as well. So I think that could also work if, for example, you only have, like, if you didn't really want to run Spirit, but you want to have those Sylvan refugees in there, for example.
See, it's so cool.
So I know that it's amazing, but I also, So anyways, good stuff.
So good.
Is what I'm getting at. Also, it might also work with, because there was that card that I was a little bit, like, I think I like, and it's the Children of the Sea.
Yeah.
Which, when you play it, it gives you a boost of 2 willpower, but then it makes the person shuffle back into your deck. This could theoretically, at least, kind of maybe pull them back.
Because that's Sylvan as well.
Yeah. Because it would work with someone like the Sylvan Refugee. Anyways.
Cool.
Sorry. These are all things now I want to try.
See, we're thinking.
You can
this
tell
is
me.
What happens.
You can tell me if they maybe work. I don't know.
So the last card.
Yeah.
Before the hero.
Okay.
It's a neutral event, and it's the White Council.
Okay.
And it costs X, where X is the number of players in the game. Action, starting with the first player, each player chooses one different option. Ready a hero he controls, add 1 resource to the resource pool of a hero he controls, draw 1 card, or shuffle 1 card from his discard pile into his deck. Boom.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. You do love it.
I do.
Why do you love it?
I mean, all of those things, who doesn't want to do those things? I mean, I do.
Yeah, you do, for sure.
I want to do all of them.
Absolutely. Would you want to do them for 4?
I would, if 4 people got to do those things, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So if we got 4 heroes readied and that...
Because it could potentially cost 4 if you have 4 players in the game.
Absolutely. But then if you're able to ready 4 people at that, like, clutch moment, that could win you the game.
Absolutely.
So I think it's worth it. Obviously, it's going to play differently for different numbers of players because of the cost. But regardless, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think I would...
What? Come at me.
I think I agree with you.
That's right.
Although, I would say that 4 is an awful lot to pay for it. So I totally understand that, like, yes, it could be the thing that, like, that guy gets a card and that guy gets to ready, and, like, 3 of them get to ready heroes after everyone just quested. And
so we can clear the whole staging area, then everyone quests the next turn, and boom, win.
Right, but also that's assuming that you have, I mean, I guess it's 4 neutral costs, so that's not the worst. Okay. I'm in on it.
It's like Path of the Need, this situation.
Well, it's actually better because it's off trait. Like, because it's neutral, you can use anybody's stuff.
Exactly.
I actually do think it might be even better.
See?
All right, okay.
I win.
I like it. I still think that it's better. I mean, I would still kind of punt to saying it's better the fewer the players, though, duh. Right? Like, it's kind of a duh card. And also, if they keep doing these kind of, like, multiplayer-ish cards, I think I'm way hip to that. You're
super hip.
Yeah. Okay, last one is going to be the hero, and it is Kelaborn. Kelaborn. I believe that's how you pronounce it, by the way. Someone who was awesome posted in our comments on our last video and said, hey, bro, I think it's pronounced Kelaborn with a K. And I was like, okay, cool. Thank you. Though I probably should have, like, YouTubed it, like...
There's probably resources out there that will, like, be definitive.
Yeah, exactly.
How Tolkien intended it to be pronounced.
Like, looked it up in the Tolkien Professor's podcast or something like that. Anyways, so Kelaborn is how I'm going to pronounce it. He's 11 starting threat, 3 willpower, 2 attack, 2 defense, 4 hit points, unique, Sylvan, and noble. He has a response. After a Sylvan ally enters play, that ally gets +1 willpower, +1 attack, +1 defense until the end of the round. What do you think?
I think that I like it.
Yes.
I think it's kind of a high initial threat cost.
Yes.
And right now, I mean, I like that he's Sylvan.
Yes.
Because he's an elf. I mean, there's a theme going on here.
You're just general elf. Okay.
In on it because he's Sylvan.
You would just take, like, if
Drop
you just
the
had...
mic, walk out the room.
Like, if you just had a card that, like, had elf kind of, like, scribbled across it crudely, you would just play it no matter what, right?
Maybe. And probably if it had a pretty picture on it, then I would play it no matter what. Be like, oh, I'm going to be this person.
Like, it's just a 0 cost, like, does nothing. Like, what if it's, like, a 40 cost thing, but it has, like, a pretty picture and says elf on it?
Yeah.
You just...
It's great.
I'll take 4.
This is my favorite card.
Okay.
No, but, and I think if you can get a Sylvan deck kind of going...
Yeah.
Then it's super helpful, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I think the only hesitation I have with this card, because I see its potential, and I think there's a lot of Sylvan stuff coming that, to me, it makes tons of sense. I think Sylvan right now is just not a very strong trait. It's spread out across at least 3 spheres that I can think of, potentially also tactics as well. And so... with that being said, it has some difficulty getting into play. I could see you maybe playing him with Elrond, just having maybe a dual kind of thing where Elrond can bring any traded hero or ally into play, and so maybe that's something that you can consider doing. But I would say that as far as he's concerned today, I think he's good, but not... excellent. Like, I think he's fine. His traits are amazing. I think even just throwing him with the Nathe Guide and Tree People would be fun. But I just don't think Sylvan is like a super strong trait today as of this recording.
But he also has some pretty solid stats.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think he'd be great with someone like the Nathe Guide, because then you put him in, Nathe Guide makes it so he's got his fat 3 willpower, and then also he can then attack also that round.
Do stuff and things.
Yeah, or defend or whatever. So yeah, he'd be great. So I like him. I think he's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. So let's talk a little bit about some of the MVPs. What do you think? Some of your favorite things from the pack? So
I think my favorites, I do really like the Nathe Guide.
Okay.
I mean, again, it's an elf with a pretty picture.
Yeah, sure.
So, no, but really, I mean, I think that the response is really a rad one.
Okay.
And then I think really my favorite 2 are, I really like Swift and Silent.
Yeah.
Because again, it readies heroes, which
Yes.
I think is awesome and I love to be able to do.
Yep.
And the White Council.
Yep.
It's just so cool.
Yep.
Readying hero.
Okay.
Apparently, that's my go-to for
that's
this
your jam.
pack. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Readying heroes.
Okay.
My heroes are gonna be super ready, bruh.
Okay. So my MVP is Firefoot. I think Firefoot is fantastic. I tend to run tactics, and I can just see myself. And I see myself running Aylmer a lot into the future, and so I just see me using Firefoot quite a bit. So I like it. I would say if I had a second, it might be the Tree People, just because I don't know. I want to try it out and see how it works.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited to maybe even as I started thinking about that kind of kind of those different ideas for how to put people into play. I think it would be interesting to try it out. So
what do you think of this pack overall?
I would say that I think it's good. Like I think there are some real gems in here. I'm excited to see some of these cards just kind of get played. I think that this will be one of those packs that we look back on towards the end of Ringmaker and go, oh yeah, those cards were amazing. I'm hoping we'll see more, because I even think we've been spoiled with more Sylvan stuff. I was even a little bit surprised there wasn't more Sylvan stuff in this from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I think it may be because we've had other things that have been spoiled down the road. And so when we start looking at some of these other Sylvan things, we'll go, oh yeah, of course, like all these cards make so much sense and more. So, and then, yeah, I just think that I would say that it is good, but I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to be seeded for the future.
Great.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, when I first went through the cards, I thought, oh yeah, I feel good about most of these. Like, I think some of the other packs I've clearly not liked some of the cards. But
okay.
in this one, I think I've mostly thought, oh yeah, I can see that. I can see how that would be helpful, useful. So I feel like it's a solid pack, but I think you're right. It'll be more powerful as we get further into the cycle.
Yeah, for sure. Things that you're excited about for Ringmaker? What do you want?
I want more elves.
I think you've been saying that for basically since we started, though.
But do you know what is coming?
What?
My favorite.
Oh, that's true. They've already spoiled Galadriel. That's true.
Yeah.
So yes.
So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, you're basically there.
Yeah. And then also the other cool thing that I think's coming down the road is Ents.
Yes.
And stuff from Fangorn.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite parts of the story.
Well, and that's what I've been talking about since day one.
Yeah.
Like, even just buying the core box, I was like, I wonder if they'll have Ents eventually. Maybe they'll have Ents, and I could play with Treebeard, and we'll be best friends, and we can hang out. No. But,
Similar to that.
Yeah, it's like that. It was basically that.
So, yeah. So those are the things I'm really excited about. And I just think that it's exciting to see how this game changes, because
yes,
they do such a great job in introducing new mechanics and new fun things, so that's always something I'm excited about.
Yeah, cool.
You?
I mean, basically the same thing. Ents, I think with the announcement of Ents, and even the possibility of, like with Isengard being as close to Fangorn, the possibility of Ents was even just exciting to me. So I think those will be cool. I think they'll probably be comparable to Eagles, and I'm excited about that. As well as we've just seen a lot of different things that I would be excited to have. So some things that have been spoiled and some things that are just speculated about. And everything seems exciting. I think it'll be interesting to see them add a lot of old things, but in new ways. Does that make sense? Like I think they'll revisit Gondor. Looks like they're going to be revisiting Secrecy, be revisiting maybe some Rangers, and things along those lines. So to bolster some of that meta that a lot of people have critique that they wish had been a little bit better along the way. So
for sure.
So yeah, exciting stuff.
It's excited.
Excitable us.
Things with excitement.
Yeah. So with that, thank you guys so much for tuning into our first look at the Dunland Trap. Let us know what you think, both about the cards that have been in this, as well as maybe just your experiences with the Dunland Trap itself. We will look forward to hearing from you guys. If you like this video, make sure you shoot us a like or subscribe. And otherwise, we will see you guys next time.
Keep playing awesome games.
And we'll see ya.